Hi, my name's Lance Begnaud, and I'm the owner of True Video in St. Louis, Missouri. I've been a part of the wedding and event industry for about 15 years now, and it's safe to say that we've never seen a wedding season like the one that we're about to go into. It seems like everybody is just scrambling to make the best of a bad situation. Unfortunately, there's also a lot of misinformation and confusion going around. So my goal with this video is to provide you with the most accurate, up-to-date information for anybody who's planning a wedding or other large event during the current pandemic. We hope that this will help you understand why we at True Video are asking our clients to comply with the current CDC guidelines. This video is being uploaded on June 20th of 2020. If there is more current information, we will update this video accordingly. Unfortunately, there's probably going to be a few things that you're not going to like hearing in this video, but please remember that it all comes from a good place, and I sincerely just want what's best for everybody out there. Alright, so now let's talk briefly about the virus, the guidelines that we're being asked to follow, and just a little bit about the science behind those guidelines. Number one is transmission. How does the virus spread? According to the latest research by the CDC and other scientific agencies, the main way that this virus is transmitted is through microscopic water droplets that get expelled when you cough, sneeze, or even just by normal talking and breathing when you're in close proximity to another person. A cough or sneeze can send these water droplets containing the virus about 6 feet away from you. So that's why we're being asked to maintain that 6 feet of social distance when we go out. Alright, now let's talk about masks. Now, the idea behind these masks that most of us are wearing is not that it necessarily protects you from contracting COVID-19. What it's meant to do is keep any water droplets that you might be expelling contained. That way you don't infect people around you. And the science backs this up 100%. Wearing a mask is one of the most effective things that you can do to help stop the spread of this virus when you are unable to maintain 6 feet of social distance. Now, this is especially true if you're holding large events with lots of people indoors. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. Next up, we're going to talk about asymptomatic transmission. So the WHO recently made a statement where they said that asymptomatic transmission seems to be very rare and is not a common way for this virus to spread. That sounds like great news, right? Well, unfortunately, we just need a little bit of context. We need to talk about the difference between asymptomatic and pre-symptomatic. An asymptomatic person does not and will never experience symptoms from an illness. A pre-symptomatic person doesn't have symptoms right now, but they will within the next week or two. And that's a very important distinction to remember. Pre-symptomatic people can still be very contagious. That's another reason why it's so important to wear those masks when you're not able to keep 6 feet of social distance. Next up is circulated air. So you remember those tiny water droplets that we talked about that contain the virus? Well, the good news is that if you're outdoors, they generally can't travel that far on their own. Well, unfortunately, indoors is kind of a different story because of one very important factor, and that is air conditioning. Air conditioning and circulated air in general does a fantastic job of spreading viruses around a room. While doing your own research, you may have come across this picture that illustrates how the air conditioning unit in a restaurant in China spread the virus from one infected person to several other people around the room, who went on to infect other people themselves. I'd just like to point out that this is not a hypothetical scenario. This is what actually happened at this restaurant. Unfortunately, this is the kind of thing that can happen when people aren't following safety guidelines. We just recently had a news report out of Florida where a group of 16 friends went out to a bar to celebrate a birthday, and all 16 of them, in addition to 7 people who worked at the bar, all contracted COVID-19 that evening. And I'm very sorry to say that your typical wedding reception is going to be a much more dangerous scenario. Unlike in restaurants where people tend to stick to one area or another, in most reception halls you're going to have people mingling around in all areas of the room, touching all kinds of surfaces. People are going to be hugging, shaking hands. Not to mention, if you're planning to have an open dance floor, you get a whole bunch of people crowded together on that dance floor. People are laughing, breathing directly onto each other. And while you're doing all that, the air conditioning that's keeping you cool is also circulating everybody's air around that space. These are, unfortunately, exactly the kinds of things that you don't want to do if you're trying to stop a virus from spreading. Personally, I can't wait to get back to shooting weddings. I love my job so much. But when I see brides and grooms planning their special day as if nothing has changed and it's business as usual, it's frustrating and frankly disheartening. To the couples out there who are trying to make some very, very difficult decisions regarding their wedding day, please understand that I empathize with you. You've been planning this day for I don't know how long, and you've spent I don't know how much money, and it's a very important day for you. I understand that. And I want to help any way I can. All of your vendors want to help. That's what we do. But ignoring the science and ignoring these safety guidelines is not going to help anybody. It's only going to lead to more sickness and death. We're already starting to see that in some places as restrictions get lifted and COVID-19 cases are spiking in many parts of the country. Please encourage your guests to wear masks. Wash your hands frequently. Maintain 6 feet of social distancing whenever possible. Look into live streaming options for sharing your wedding day with guests who can't be there in person. These are all great things that you can do to help keep your event safe. So by all means, have your big day. Celebrate your love. You deserve it. But please, do it responsibly. Help protect yourselves, your loved ones, and us, who are working very hard to make your big day possible. We have weddings of our own that we would like to see. Whatever your plans are, I wish you the best of luck and a long, happy marriage. Thank you for your time.